Hello, I'm Dr. Courtney Cowart, the Executive Director of the Society for the Increase of the Ministry. And I'm happy to be here with you today to share a little bit more about what SIM has been doing in 2022 with your support. Last week, I said a little bit about our scholarships, and in particular, our Becoming Beloved Community scholarships. Since 1857, so now for 165 years, SIM has been making scholarships to people attending seminary throughout the United States. But this year, SIM has expanded our mission. While we have given a substantial number of scholarships, and even the largest scholarship in our recent history in the amount of $24,000, we are also embarking on an entirely new program area that I'm very excited to tell you about. And I feel it's no small feat that we would be launching this with funding from Trinity Church in New York. We're doing this with Trinity and with the Diocese of Atlanta and with three other Province 4 dioceses that's in the southeastern part of the United States, which is also a broadening of SIM's presence in the church, since SIM has been traditionally headquartered in the Northeast and was founded and chartered actually by an act of the Connecticut legislature in 1857. So here we are spreading our wings a bit and doing this new work, which I really want to tell you a bit about because I think it is extremely valuable to the Episcopal Church and where we are now as a church. As you may or may not know, I think it's the church pension group that does different kinds of demographic research on the Episcopal Church on a regular basis, has publicized that now 60% of our churches have 75 members or fewer. And to tell the truth, a large number of those have many fewer than 75 members. So a lot of our churches are small faith communities, and it makes them different from the large program-sized churches and cardinal parishes that we think of as kind of the mainstay of the Episcopal Church. And yet these small communities are doing extraordinary ministry and play vital roles in their communities and would be sorely missed if they were not there. Bishops in every diocese of our church are wrestling with how we ensure that smaller congregations remain economically sustainable. And in many cases, these small congregations do not have paid ordained leaders there to celebrate the Eucharist on a weekly basis. But the leadership that comes from the lay members of these small congregations is incredibly inspiring. As a lay person myself, who has a doctorate in theology, I have long been a champion of the empowerment for leadership that every member of the church receives at the time of our baptism. And so I'm very happy to be doing this work that extends Sim's work in the area of leadership for the church of the future to working with outstanding lay leaders in small congregations. A few weeks ago, we trained 40 such lay leaders from 4 dioceses in a set of leadership practices that we've developed at Sim. This is the work that I have been engaged in for many years, a decade or more, along with my colleague, Jim Goodman. And we did this work when we were at the Beacon Center, where EFM was developed originally at the University of the South in Swanee. And we worked with dioceses all over the country using these practices that support innovation in ministry. We've revisited those practices and we've reorganized how we work with them and with communities. And we have given them the name Hearts on Fire. And that name came from a session with board members who have engaged these practices over the years, who said this really should be named not for, as a thing, but what happens when you actually engage these practices. What happens is that people become clear about their passion and their calling. They are able in community to really get in touch with what their purpose is, the thing that really excites them and which they feel is really what God equipped them to do and put them in the world to do. And then there are practices that help us make room for new ideas, interior room, practices that open us, practices that help us shed past attachments, things that we're holding on to perhaps too tightly, and to make room for new ideas to emerge. And then there are practices that are associated with design innovation groups, things that have been tried and tested in places like Palo Alto and at Stanford University, where people are designing for the future. And all of this is brought to the enterprise of reimagining church and reimagining ministry. So we've started this in Province 4 in the Southeast in 4 dioceses. We're in conversation with Trinity about expanding this and scaling up further. And we're working with another incredible partner in the Diocese of North Carolina, Kathy Caimano, who has a tremendous resource that we're bringing to this work that is an online tool called Bring Church to People. And I highly commend that to you too. So this is a new area of Sim's work, in addition to our strong commitment to our scholarships, which is our historic work. We have really felt that Sim is a leadership organization. The scholarships are a means to an end. Their purpose, we see, is to ensure the strength and the quality of our leadership for the future of the church in every generation. But there are other things that we can do to have an impact and make a contribution to the church. And we believe that the Hearts on Fire resource is one of them. So stay tuned for more information about how you can access this resource, how you can join a learning community of ministry innovators at the congregational level who are experimenting with these tools and practices. And I invite you to, if you've always thought of SIM as a scholarship organization, to think now about SIM as a leadership organization and consider the contribution that we're making and consider supporting us as we expand and spread our wings and do this very important and timely work.